Alright, let's do this. We've got a Yamaha 660 that came in for some work. Typically don't work on utilities. Told the lady off bat, don't work on utilities, but something told me, pick it up, grab it, take care of her, and take to work. Why not? Get some experience on these utilities. So, first thing, went through, diagnosed a bunch of stuff, needs front axle, rear diff rebuild, and a couple other things. Get the front axle off, we had fire. These things get crusty, they get rusty, they're beat up in the water. Gotta add fire because the grease doesn't stay at anything. And people don't take these things apart to re-grease them. They just ride them. They wash them from the top down. They don't take the plastics off. They just ride them, beat them, neglect them, and when they break, they fix them. So we're going to turn around and we're going to take about 9-10 hours worth of work, break it down to about 25-minute video. Lots of high speeds, lots of close-ups, good explanations of what's going on. A lot of these things were not really super complicated. It was more of the pain in the booty that it was just to do what we had to do to get it apart. Shouldn't have had to take a torch to it, but as you saw, as soon as the torch was on it, came right off with the gun. Now we're going to knock the crusty axle splines through the hub because, of course, the splines are crusty and rusty and stuck in the hub. So, yep, we got to get that apart. You undo the ball joints, you swing the arm out the way, swing the brake and everything out the way. You can get the axle out without complete disassembly of the front end. Turn around and get 2 screwdrivers, big flathead screwdrivers on the back side at the differential. Pop both sides at the same time. The CV axle will pop out. Sometimes you got to fight with it, sometimes you don't. But you need to pull on it evenly and straight. If you're pulling on it at one side at a time, the little snap ring is going to get hung up and it's not going to pop. It's not going to let you get the CV axle out. So you need even pressure on 2 sides. It'll pop the axle out. As you see here, a lot of that is still assembled. We just undid basically the spindle and hub from the A-arms. I think we might have undone the tie rod ends. Not quite sure. It's been a little while. I've been putting off doing this voiceover. It's a long voiceover. I put off doing the job, got the job done, got paid for it. It's gone. Ladies having fun with it. Everything worked out really well. Just been kind of hard getting behind the microphone and doing the voiceover for the video. These videos don't go very far. They don't go out to very many people. Whoever sees them, really appreciate you guys that are clicking on them, watching, and commenting. You watch the video all the way through, really helps out the channel. This channel hit 14 years this year. We are still not monetized. Still can't break 500 views on a video. Don't know what's going on. 14 years of content. The very first video on this channel is me on my 86R in the backyard on the track that has evolved over the years. Still have the R, still have the big red, still have the track. It's just a lot bigger and a lot faster. Went from a little play around track to a 3rd, 4th gear 450 motocross track for Tony to practice on while he was racing. He was the series champ at Dade City for multiple years in a row, so we had to keep him on top of the game. He still goes out, he still races, and he still wins. So, yep, we got the track still back there. It's great for test and tune. Always fun to go play on. Check out the videos. We've got thousands of videos on this channel. Lots of ride videos, lots of how-tos, lots of build videos, race videos, all kinds of different stuff. Great fun on this channel. Still can't figure out why it's not monetized. Got to break 4,000 hours. Nobody's commenting on the videos. No, I am not Shred 80. I am not going to do stupid things for views. Or at least I'm trying not to do stupid things for views. I'm trying to be as authentic and legitimate as possible. It is what it is. It's not one of those really pretty shops. We don't have tile everywhere. I don't have people working for me. This is a me, myself, and I kind of thing. We keep the prices down. We keep the work legitimate. We do good job on everything. Make everybody happy. And keep on going to the next thing. I absolutely love the custom jobs that I'm doing, the custom builds like the KX125. We got 2 of those turning into 3-wheelers. We got a Warrior trike turning into a 3-wheeler. Tony got rid of his lifted big Citra, so we'll probably be ending up building another big red here in the future. Still got the KX450 up for sale. That price has gone down a lot. Somebody makes me the right offer, they can have that thing. It's almost been 3 years. I get a lot of compliments on it. Not a whole lot of people wanting to buy it, though. We got front axle back on, cotter pin on. Actually, that was a nut that needs to be doinked into the little slot. So make sure you got a hammer and punch and knock the nut face over into the little slot, locks it in place. Zip the tire back on. Front axle is done. We did have to change the shift linkage, not linkage, but the whole shift box and the linkage. The lady got the linkage too. Worked out really well. That thing was like 3 bolts holding that thing on with some kind of strange magnetic indicator that screws into the back of the box. Was not a hard flip-flop, pretty simple. We also did the fuel tank sending unit. I haven't seen the thing be off of empty yet, but every time she brings it in, it's pretty much got no gas in it. So I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. Yep. Absolutely hilarious because it's so true. People bring stuff in on empty all the time, but you guarantee if you need to remove the gas tank, they filled that thing before they brought it. Right now we're underneath the back end because we've got to figure out how to remove the back end on one of these things. Never done it before. There's a couple of bolts holding it in place, but you got to pull the lower control arms and you got to pull the sway bar to get the bolts out the way because the bolts go through where the pivot points are. Somebody needs to slap those engineers because there's 2 bolts in the bottom in the differential that hold it in place. The 2 bolts on the side of the differential that hold the cover on also need to come out because they hit the frame when you go to pick it up. So we need to remove the caliper, which is what we're doing now. Trying to get into them tight spots with the special wrenches so that we can get the caliper off, get it out the way. The 2 bolts off the bottom of the differential. The 2 bolts off the cover of the differential, which we'll be showing you here in a few minutes. The sway bar needs to come off or at least be detached from the frame and detached from one control arm. Control arms, we pulled both lower control arms, swung them out the way so we can get the bolts out the way. You get in there with a little pry bar and pop the differential up and out. And hope the owner did not get a quad where the trailer hitch was welded in place. Got very lucky. You'll see when we get to the point of moving the differential out. There's a trailer hitch right there. Yes, it's welded in place. Yes, the mount for the back bolt has welds on it. So getting the differential out from around the welds over the trailer hitch, yeah, fun times. I love utilities.
Why is there a drag?
Not whatsoever. This is why we play with race bikes.
Might have something to do with the stockpile.
And the squeaky squeaky. Why was it squeaking when it was rolling? Yep, sand in the brake pads. Happens on a mud bike, especially when people don't pull cover.
There's a lot to utility and they're hard to clean, and there's a lot to cleaning them, but yeah, they do need to be cleaned.
Yep, that's what happens when you don't pull covers and you don't wash your bike. Pads get permeated with mud, you get squeakies, all kinds of fun stuff. Here we are. Got to double wrench it. Can't get sockets in there either. They don't give you room. So you got to do the old double wrench, get the socket in one side, get the other wrenches in there. Unless you got all kinds of wobbles and stuff, it's just easier to use wrenches to get these lower control arms off. If you've got an electric gun, you might be able to squeak in there. I don't know. I don't have an electric gun that has a good battery at this point. They all died and I haven't replaced them. It's one of them things. We got pneumatics. Play with pneumatics. Batteries die. You gotta spend more money on more batteries. All that kind of fun stuff. No. We got enough stuff going on in this shop. Sometimes we buy tools. Sometimes we don't buy tools. Sometimes we just make them. This isn't one where we got to worry about any of that kind of fun stuff. But there you go. See? Bolt in the way of a control arm. Yep, somebody slapped the engineer.
Now,
we are going to end up removing at least both rear tires so that it makes the job a little bit easier. We're not fighting and get around the rear tires.
Can't we just put it in the right direction?
Yep, talking to you guys. Always fun, mid-sentence, doing the voiceover, and then your face pops up and you're talking, so you got to stop, give a little bit of a gap. Correct. Move on. Fun times. Yes, lots of fun times. Not a lot of complexity to this, though. I've been rebuilding the differentials on the big reds and stuff, so I was kind of had an idea of what I was going to be coming into to rebuild the differential. Had no idea that I was going to be having to go through all of this to get the differential out. We just did a center drive shaft coupler on Tony's 500 Foreman, and that's actually got a cradle, so 3 bolts, upper control arm and upper shock bolts, and the entire differential rear end cradle flies right out the way. Take it out, do whatever you want. If you disconnect the brake caliper, you can definitely remove the whole thing and move it wherever you want completely. It's really a neat design. This, on the other hand, not so much. This is Yamaha. They don't like doing things the easy way. They're going to stuff in the way. See, you can't get that bolt out until you get the sway bar out the way. Why? I don't understand it. Don't understand it at all. But it is what it is because it's always happening. It's the way they design them. These, they're just splined in on that side. There's no clips or nothing holding them in place. They're just splined in with massive splines. So you swing everything out the way, get the CV axle out of the way. Pull the other side apart so we can pretty much do the exact same thing to the other side. You need the clearance to get everything out. Oh, editing these things is so much fun. You figure out what clips you missed, which clips you didn't modify. Yep, get all the way up to this point, and I'm like, wait a minute, these clips aren't going that fast. Oh, yeah, no. You were editing everything through and never went through the second half of the video speeding things up. This is 100% speed time is too slow for the masses. Yep. No, we can't make a 25-minute video. We'll break it down faster than that. You guys don't want to watch that long. I'm sure nobody wants to listen to me jabber that long. If you guys appreciate the information, the videos, stuff like that, let me know down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you like off-road content, build content, how-tos. I am here for everybody. You guys need help with anything, all you got to do is send me a message. I will spend all day trying to help you guys out. Do it all the time. Talk to people with builds over Messenger or whatnot, and yep, we get things all figured out, fixed up, running. It's a great community we've got. Just wish you guys would chime in and check out the videos a little bit more. It'd be really nice to get these things to thousands of people, not just a couple of dozen. I do appreciate running into you guys, though, and hearing the stories and getting the thanks for the helps for the different videos and stuff. I know the shock rebuild videos and the fork shortening and stuff. Those things go places and help people out because there's not a lot of people that do it. And I know I'm one of the few people that does the custom front ends, the trike conversions and stuff like that. So it's not like you guys have a lot of options on who to call or who to contact. I am one of the few left doing 3-wheeler conversions and custom builds. Not very many people left anymore. The niche has kind of slowed down, died out. So yeah, that's why we got some utilities in here. That's okay though. Got to branch out every once in a while and test the skills, make sure I still got what it takes to get things done. There we go, taking the 2 bolts out the top, like I said earlier, so that we can get the differential out. See, it's so tight in there. It's bad when you need to remove bolts to get something out. Here you can see the hitch is kind of in the way also. Luckily it wasn't too bad. Just got to finagle things a little bit. Try and get the drive shaft out of the brake caliper or out of the brake rotor. Now that'll come out later. That pulled out of the motor instead. And there we have it. 1 differential out. Go sit down, break it apart. We looked at the bearing kit. The bearing's got some massive bearings. I was not ready for the size of the bearings that were going to be in this thing when I broke it apart. Big Reds don't have the huge bearings like that. That thing is massive and it's wore out. She was weeping off of that side. That bearings wore out, so we're going to go through, replace all the bearings in a differential. New seals, new bearings, get everything all polished up, cleaned up, sealed up. Looks good otherwise. I caught it while it was weeping. I didn't catch it after it had been leaking, so none of the bearings technically went bad. This is what happens when you turn around and you fix a weep before it turns into a leak. There was no catastrophic failures anywhere. Everything came apart nicely. There was no crusty, rusty muck or anything like that. Got it all polished up, cleaned up, back in the rear end. Now we get to put the back end all back together. Woohoo! Means the job's almost done. Do we have other stuff to do? Yep, we got wiring to clean up also. This thing was a wiring nightmare. Whoever ran the speakers and the light whips and everything else just jumbled things up, butt spliced things together. There was no heat shrink, there was no solder, there was no nothing. It was just butt connectors and weird connectors, and the dude didn't even shorten the wires. He just took them and bundled them up and said, here, have a rat's nest. So we turned around and went through, me, myself, and I guess that categorizes as a we, doesn't it? We talk to ourselves all the time. We yell at ourselves and argue at ourselves. Yep, that's just kind of common around here. You guys talk to yourself a lot, often, not at all. Do you keep yourself company? I do. Makes things interesting. Definitely keeps things interesting around the shop. As I was saying before, this is not one of them spick and span kind of shops. I am not a pretty boy. So the shop is not going to be one of those high dollar, because I'm not charging people thousands upon thousands of dollars for engine builds. I'm not ripping people off. I'm not trying to pad my pockets with bills. I'm just trying to fix things, get people happy, get them out there and running. So it kind of shows in what kind of shop I got. We got dirt floors because we haven't paid for concrete. The shop that I put together in between connexes, put a roof on it, and voila, we have a shop. Carpet floors, but we build what other people will not. The KX125, dude, was told by 5 people not possible. Here we are, almost done with it. This is why I do what I do. I absolutely love doing what I do, because people tell other people no, it can't be done, and we turn around and we prove them wrong, because we can. We got the decades and years of experience to get it done, so we get it done. I was in a Polaris dealership. I am MMI certified, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki, all factory certified. Did that stuff all in the mid-90s. Sawyer Custom Shop's been open since 07. Legitimately. Was doing this way before 07. We've been cranking stuff out and doing fun toys and fun projects since then. Custom builds, race builds, having fun on the track, having fun building things. These are the wiring and everything that we had to clean up. Strange boxes, not quite sure what they're all for. I'm not a wiring guru. Air filter was nasty as can be. When I got that all cleaned up and put back in, that got rid of the carburetor pop. A little bit of Fab 1 on the air filter. And we're golden. You guys have a great weekend. Appreciate everybody that hung out with me. I'll see you in the next one.